To the best sports gambling show on the planet. This is WagerTalk Today, and I'm your host, Andy Lang. Welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday, and do we ever have a strong slate to break down? We've got NBA, we've got MLB, and more. Plenty of spots we're going to target and free plays we're going to fire on. Listen, the work's been done. The lines are already moving, and we got to get after it. Let's lock in, and let's keep stacking these profits, guys. Gianni's going to join us first with the Steam Report, tell us where the money's going. Bryan Power is going to join us, talk about NBA Finals Game 1. Then we're going to have Art DiCesare, and we got to do Beat Art DiCesare. Listen, Art, last time Art was on and we did Beat Art DiCesare, he got beat. So we're gonna get his thoughts on the Oilers beating him and where he's going to make his triumphant comeback here. And then Ross Benjamin's going to join us. We got to break down a couple of MLB games, Astros, Pirates, Guardians, and Yankees. And by popular demand, Dan and I are going to move to one of Dan's bigger rivalries, the Washington Commanders. We're going to go the over-under on 9.5 wins. Like button. You got it, Ethan. Hit the like button. No time to waste. Let's get into it. We're going to do all around the world and some free plays. Let's bring in Gianni. Gianni, you listen, you know your audience and you know your producer very, very well. You walk off screen, you come back on, and you're wearing lacrosse gear. Absolutely amazing. It looks great, man. That's some sharp
Premier
gear,
Lacrosse.
man.
Premier Lacrosse. That's where it's at, brother. That's where it's at. They got me hooked up. I got to thank them, man. Good looking out. Good looking out. I might even go this summer and watch a game. They're trying to hook up. So awesome.
That would be amazing. Yeah. Listen, Dan does our lacrosse plays. It's one of those hidden markets that you and I love taking advantage of.
I'm 2-0 piggybacking his stuff. So far, I'm on a free roll with Dan. I got a free roll going. I just bet a nickel. I swear, I bet a nickel on each. So I'm up over a dime just free rolling.
Yeah, Dan gave me a stern warning about his futures. I may have bet it a little bit too big like a year ago and moved the line big. So I need to be a little bit more careful on those. But yeah, lacrosse is where it's at. All right, Gianni, it's a Wednesday morning. Where's the money at so far?
Game 1 of NBA is tomorrow. Real quickly, we're just starting to see more balance. That's why I wanted to bring that up before we dive into today's baseball. How it was all Indiana early. Since then, it's kind of slowed down and you're starting to see more two-way action, like a lot more balance. It kind of reminds me of the Super Bowl where you had that 2-week break. And after the end of the first week, it's always one-sided. Like you'll hear the books always say, oh, if team A wins, it's going to be a bad Super Bowl for us. But by the end of the second week, because everyone has opinion on that game, it gets closer to 50-50. It always does. And we're starting to see that even with this game. Now, as far as the series, that's just not the case because Oklahoma City's such heavy chalk for the series. Not many recreational bettors want to put up 5, 6, 700 to win 100, but they are willing to put up 100 to win 4 or 5. You know, they like to put up a little money to win a lot, but they're not comfortable putting up a lot to win a little. And because of that, the series line is still completely one-sided as far as the money is going. All on the Indiana side. But again, a lot more balance on the first game and a lot more balance on the first game total. Couple baseball moves for you guys. Nothing yet in college baseball. I checked before I jumped on. I'll check again when I finish reading these off. But here's some college baseball that we got into immediately. Been betting since last night. 954 Cincinnati at -120. 957 Arizona, Atlanta, under 8 up to -130. So they didn't go under 7.5, but they laid up the -130 to go under 8. LA, Boston, they must be expecting a lot of runs and wind must be blowing out because after going over 9.5 up to -130 last night, they went over 10 up to -130 as well, which is why you're seeing 10.5s on the board right now. So a lot of runs expected in Boston. 971 Baltimore +120 down to +110. Minnesota juiced from 140, 150, 160. They just kept betting Minnesota. Same thing with the Phillies. Took them as a dog, then laid small chalk on the Phillies as well. Another dog for you, Colorado +140. And then in Texas and Tampa Bay, they went under 8.5 and under 8 in Texas and Tampa Bay. So already busy in Major League Baseball. Hopefully college baseball starts coming in as well. Yesterday, I didn't bet a single college baseball game. Didn't get anything that really confirmed because, again, there's a lot of manipulation going on. A lot of scalps are set up. when the lines move so significantly like they do in college baseball, and then it's a time of the year where you're also getting even recreational bettors involved, because early on they weren't, but now, everybody's talking college baseball. So you do have books writing also action from more recreational bettors. And because of that, I saw like a lot of scalps being set up. I saw a lot of like middles on totals, nothing really confirmed. Hopefully that changes today. But like I said, so far, nothing in college baseball. It's been all Major League Baseball as we await the NBA Finals to begin tomorrow.
Yeah, Andrew had a question. Joker, Zverev, that line hasn't moved at all. I mean, it's pretty much a coin flip, straight pick 'em, -110. Do you have any opinion on that one?
No, I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything on the Joker.
For what it's worth. Yeah, for what it's worth, we have both players to win a set as a parlay piece, but that's about all the value that we could find in that.
Gun the head, I'd fade Joker in this one. I'd go with Zverev, if I had to. Gun the head. I think he should probably be a little higher favored. But now it's starting to move that way, though. I'm seeing -120s, as high as -120 on him. I think that's the right side, but I haven't fired.
We've been Dan and I have been breaking down some season win totals in NFL. Have you started looking at these? Anything catch your eye?
I started. I haven't bet anything yet. I started looking at them myself. I haven't fired anything. It's funny. Someone actually asked me last night if I have any any NFL totals yet. Nothing. The only thing I bet as far as future in college, we bet that, I think, was it Buffalo? I gave it out on here. I think to win the MAC at like +700 or something like that. That was the only bet that I saw that came across really sharp. But we should start seeing some season win totals, especially over the summer especially when the finals are over and NHL is over and it's kind of like the slow times, just nothing but baseball. I think you'll start seeing the futures in football start to pick up, even from the sharps.
Yeah, we talked about the dog days of summer in terms of betting. Let's talk a little bit about mindset. I know a lot of people take this time to kind of reset, kind of take a little bit of break, kind of, clear their mind a little bit because the fall gets really, really busy. What's your mindset going into this summer here? Is it all gas, no brakes all the time, or is this?
No, I'm human too. And I start to feel the summer like, you kind of want to sleep in at 30 minutes later. You kind of feel like you could shut it down a little earlier because there's just not all that much going on. So, I mean, it's human nature. Like, it's that vacation time. It's that slow time. And as far as betting, it's more or less just baseball, a little WNBA or some of the smaller markets. So I get it. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I always tell bettors, like, take the time off, but shut it completely down. Like, don't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because that's how you get yourself in trouble. You end up, betting stuff you shouldn't be betting, or you end up losing like a nickel that you shouldn't have lost. You start messing a little bit. Oh, I'm just doing nothing. I'll bet this game. It's on TV. I'll bet $50 on it. You lose it. All of a sudden, trying to win that 50, you bet 100 on the next one. Now you find yourself down almost $200, and you're like, dude, I wasn't even going to bet this week. And you end up getting yourself in trouble. I say cut yourself off. Like, it's not going anywhere. The games aren't going anywhere. The lines aren't going anywhere. There'll be stuff to bet every single day as soon as you're ready. So shut it down. Turn it off. It's like guys asked me before, like, oh, I have a wedding to go to. And when are you going to send the plays out? Dude, turn it off. Go enjoy the wedding. Like, this is why you do this. This is why you work. So you could make a decent living and you could enjoy and have experiences in your life. When those opportunities come, take full advantage of them. Shut it down. Unplug. Who cares about the games? Who cares about the scores? Like, live in the moment. Be present at what you're doing. And tomorrow, there'll be games to bet. There'll be lines. They're not going anywhere. Like, take the week off, but completely unplug. And that's what I found the hardest for me, because I just work every day and I've gotten so used to doing it now for like so long that it's just automatic that when I find myself on vacation, it's so hard for me to unplug. And it's not a good habit. Like, I highly urge guys to not make the mistake that I made, where I just would not unplug. Even on vacation, I'm working and stuff. Don't do it. Unplug your stuff. What are you going to, like, lose your place in what's going on in sports? You've been following it every day your entire life. It's not going anywhere. Like I said, there's always going to be more value. There's always going to be a better bet to place. That's not going anywhere. So not to go long, but unplug, cut it off, take a week off completely away from sports, spend it with your family, do it with your girl, by yourself, but whatever. Don't bet. Don't even look at ESPN. Don't care for a week. I'm telling you, you'll come back more refreshed, revived, and ready to go than if you just continuously just keep going every day, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. It's a good thing to do that every once in a while. Even for the seasoned pros, you need to. I know guys that this is what they do for a living, like myself, but they'll unplug. They'll take that 3 days off, that 7-day cruise, and they will not deal with anything at all. Like, don't DM me, don't bother me. And I think that's a good way to live. That's a good balance. Good balance.
Well, Ethan, we're doing good work for Ethan here. He's stuck into TJ Maxx, his girlfriend, and says, "Thank God for the show." Listen, Ethan, keep your eye on the sales. Okay, they have some.
That's what I was going to say. Every time you find some gems in those spots, bro. You find some gems sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Gianni, I have a saying: never underestimate the power of boredom. We do some really dumb stuff when we're bored.
Exactly.
One of my favorite.
And when you have access to credit, you could do a lot of dumb stuff.
And this, I'm bored. I'll just fire off a couple of plays on there. I love Colin Cowherd. He's got some great sayings. One of the most dangerous things you can have is a man with too much time on his hands. And
that's dangerous.
It's so true. So your advice on unplugging completely, you're right, because it's just so easy to be sitting there watching a game and I'm going to fire off a live play and oops, I just burned two.
Bro, it's happened to me. I've lost it. It costed me like $1,000 on stuff I had no business getting involved in. Like if I wasn't bored and I wasn't looking at the board at that time, I had no business placing a bet. Like you'll save yourself so much headache and money just completely unplugging when you make your mind up. Like I'm shutting it down for the day. That's it. Do it. Do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff from Gianni. I got a pretty big topic I'm saving for. Well, we got a bunch of guests. I got a big topic. I'm going to run it by you in Slack, but I want to devote a good amount of time to it. So we'll do it. We don't have very many guests.
Love it.
So right now, tell everyone what you have up at WagerTalk for clients.
Yeah, I have I gave out the 4% in game one of the NBA finals, and that package will still be up. And anyone that bought it yesterday, anything that comes in, whether it's props, whether it's a total or anything, first half, it'll go in there as well. That'll still be up today. And baseball will be up within the next 30 minutes. Already isolated 2 4% plays. And UFL. We swept the UFL board last week and already gave 2 4% for this week. So, again, I know it's not the most exciting time, but the money don't care where it comes from. As long as you're cashing tickets, that's all that matters. Big UFC ahead for Saturday as well. Don't forget that.
Love it. Gianni the Greek, thank you so much, guys. Make sure you hit the like button. We're trying to get to 100 likes here before the end of the show. We're going to go all around the world. I did not have a great day yesterday. We cashed, I think, a couple small tennis plays. Lost my team total in the Rockies by half. I lost my $5 Tuesday play. We had the Fever under their team total. They had a miserable first half. I was looking good, and then all of a sudden they hit 6 straight three-pointers to start the second half, and they go over by 2. But it's a long-term game. We move on. Let's do some free plays all around the world here. A lot of these can be found on the WagerTalk free picks page. There's a lot of them up today, a lot of them in baseball. So if you're looking for free plays in baseball, go check that out. We'll take a look at Tokyo Brandon Ryan. I believe it's Gusto over 1.5 walks. Brandon talks about he's walked 2 or more in 6 straight starts. You're getting reasonable juice on that one. So Ryan Gusto, I believe, over 1.5 walks. Andrew's got a CFL play up. That's right. It's CFL season. This is another one of these beatable markets. Elks versus Lions over 48.5. Last 3 meetings between these two have gone over 50. Elks improved their quarterback and receivers, but not their defense, and their defense gave up 29.6 points per game per season. And the Lions, they have a new coach, very aggressive coach. Nathan Rourke's their quarterback. He averaged 300 yards passing. Look for this to be a high-tempo pace game. Take the over 48.5. If you have blocks in NHL, this is a little bit of an obscure prop. Jake Wallman, defenseman for Edmonton, over 2.5 blocks, over in 4 straight games, 9 out of the last 13. Matthew Barnaby has talked about this. You can look at some of these props when you go deeper into the playoffs. Guys are selling out to block shots on defense, plays you wouldn't normally make in the regular season, but now it's Stanley Cup. These guys are going to go all out for the blocks. And who the Elks? Bruce says, who are the Elks? The Edmonton Elks. This is Canadian Football League. The Canadian Football League should be available on all your books. And Bruce, this is a gettable sport. This is the lines are soft. There's not a lot of attention on it. You can find some really, really good gems in CFL. So CFL stands for Canadian Football League. So you're looking at the Edmonton Elks and the BC Lions. And Leg Show Magazine, I'll give you a little credit. Nerfy, no run first inning in the early game. Rockies, Marlins. First bet of the day. What could go wrong? Well done. So, yeah, those are some free plays. Gusto over 1.5 walks. Canadian Football League, Elks versus Lions over 48.5. Jake Wallman over 2.5 block shots. And Leg Show Magazine's giving us the Rocky Marlins, no run in the first inning. And his analysis is first bet of the day, what could go wrong? Absolutely fantastic. So, Bradley, can we get some tennis picks outside of the French Open? Yeah, as soon as we see valuable lines, absolutely, we'll fire away. But there's a lot of uncertainty in some of those tournaments. So, we're not going to fire away plays we don't believe in. It's not been the best French Open for us. Full disclosure, we're fully transparent here. We're hovering right around even. So we'll see how it goes. But remember that 30-day package, we got more time to go. There's going to be some more tournaments. So we'll have some more tennis plays coming in there. But again, we're not going to send out plays that we don't believe in just to have some action. So, all right, guys, it is time for the one, the only Bryan Power. We're going to bring him in and we're going to talk about the NBA Finals, Game 1, and you've been running real good here in the playoffs. I know you got a special with you and Mark, but let's break down this NBA Finals Game 1. I've got a video up where I talked about it. Brian, listen, myself, I love my Pacers. This is a massive uphill battle here, so I'm interested in your take. Floor is yours. Tell us what your breakdown of Game 1 in this series.
Yeah, Andy, thanks for having me on. As always, great to spend some time with you. So I think our viewers, pretty intelligent people. We all understand that when you have an almost 7-1 favorite to win a series, laying 9.5 points in Game 1, pretty big mismatch on paper, obviously. But what I want to do today is go through some trends that I found that illustrate just the kind of history that the Indiana Pacers, your Indiana Pacers, are up against in these NBA Finals, facing what I think we would all agree has easily been the best team in the NBA all season. So here we go. Let's start with the fact, Andy, the Pacers were 66-1 to win the NBA championship before the season started. There have previously been only 6 teams to make an NBA Finals with preseason championship odds of 30-1 or greater. None of those 6 won the Finals. The Pacers' preseason win total, this is obviously somewhat correlated with their championship odds, but the Pacers' preseason win total, 46.5. There have been 7 teams to make an NBA Finals with a preseason win total that low. Again, none of the 7 won the Finals. A moment ago, I mentioned the Thunder's odds to win the series. There have previously been 11 instances of a team opening minus 600 or greater to win an NBA Finals. Only once. It was the 2004 Lakers. That was when Shaq and Kobe, I believe, had their implosion. That was the only team that did not win the series when opening minus 600 or greater. And Indiana is just the 7th team, Andy, I'm sure you know this following the team, just the 7th team ever to win both its conference semifinal and conference final as a series underdog. Of the previous 6, only one, the 1995 Rockets, went on to win the NBA Finals. So history is certainly not smiling on the Pacers to win this series, but what about covering the spread in Game 1? Well, I regret to inform you, Andy, that Game 1 underdogs of the NBA Finals, a terrible 2-18 straight up, 3-17 against the spread the last 20 years. So really, there's just not a lot that you can hang your hat on, I guess, historically, if you're a Pacers fan. By the way, P.S., those aforementioned 2004 Lakers are the only one of 10 teams to be a favorite of at least 8 points in Game 1 and not go on to win the series. So unless if you're the 2004 Lakers, apparently, favorites, you don't want to say it's all over, but the shouting, these Pacers have certainly, defied the odds so far. But the too long didn't read version of all this, I guess, Andy, is that Indiana may be in some trouble, at least historically speaking. Shout out to Bet Labs, by the way, for all of those trends that I went through. I thought that they were quite interesting and worth sharing because I think we all agree Oklahoma City is a deservedly big favorite, but the numbers really speak that they deserve to be a big favorite.
I listen, as a Pacers fan, I searched. I tried to, I can't get there. I mean, we're going to need bad shooting. uncharacteristic turnover. Like at this point, you're going for just like a hope and a prayer at this point. So I don't want to say it's over before it even started, but
Yeah, here's the thing, Andy, and again, you know this, and look, they took out my Cavs, okay, Indiana. But the thing that's so remarkable about this team is there have been 7 games where they have trailed by 15 or more points in these playoffs. They've won 4 of them. That's great. That's not supposed. You're not supposed to be able to come back from a 15-point deficit 4 times. Tip your cap. Before the Eastern Conference Finals, Mark Zeno and I talked about this on the Morning Rager, that something had to change. Either Indiana's shooting had to regress from those first 2 rounds, or all those open threes the Knicks were giving up were going to start to go in. The Pistons couldn't make them. The Celtics couldn't make them. Well, the Pacers did. That's why they're here. And yes, it looks like I have our chat up as well, and the answer to that question is Detroit beat the 04 Lakers in those finals.
Kind of interesting because Detroit kind of mimics these 2 teams in there, like kind of like the team mentality, like not relying on necessarily one individual. I know OKC relies on SGA, but the waves of offense and defense coming from OKC is just going to be way too much. So, and don't forget, Brian, the Pacers won a game on Tyrese Halliburton hitting a shot off the rim that goes 100 feet in the air, and in a when has that ever happened? I've never seen that shot go in.
So I don't know about the people, what kind of, how they watch the games, whatever. I've got YouTube TV, and it's always notoriously behind the ESPN app by a couple seconds, right? So because I had a player, I forgot what I had in that game, but I had the ESPN app open, and it went to 0. And the score, I was like, oh, I guess the Pacers lost. And then I watch, and the shot bounced. I'm like, oh, that was kind of close. And then it goes in. I said, excuse me? Excuse me? That shot just went in? Wow. Yeah, so that was something. And again, maybe the comment section can correct me if I'm wrong, going back to that 04 series. I think that was when Shaq and Kobe sort of had their parting of the ways, and Shaq started cutting battle raps on Kobe afterwards.
Yeah, was it that the Karl Malone experiment? Was that
yes,
Gary Payton? Karl Malone.
That's right. Karl Malone Karl Malone desperate to win a championship, and he cursed the Lakers.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
So Brian, we had Mark on the other day. Your guys' show is hilarious. Mark said anybody that's on the show can catch a stray, including the hosts. You guys, tell us about that show. And I know you've been on a fantastic run. You've got a special to promote here for you and Mark.
Yeah, from one hardworking guy to another. Andy, look, I do 2 videos every day here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. You were kind enough to have me on here, the flagship, writing up plays every single day, wt.buzz/BP. There is no harder job that I have been corralling Mark Zeno each and every day on the Morning Wager. But we love it. We have fun, and it's a good time. So people can check that show out every Monday through Friday. You can also check out the Power 5. That is every day, 7 days a week. And Andy mentioned we've been seeing it well in the NBA playoffs. Perfect 6-0 run, as a matter of fact, in the NBA playoffs. We have a 4% best bet available for Game 1. It was $5 yesterday. You can still get it now. And if you don't want to pay, if you're like, I missed it, I don't want to pay full price, well, guess what? We've got a great special offer, Mark and I, Morning Wager, 2 for 1. You get all my plays, all of his plays, 30 days, $299, one price, all the plays from the both of us. So we hope to keep seeing it well, Andy. It's an 18-6 run overall, up over 41 units the last 11 days alone, and 5 straight months with a winning record. Very proud of that.
Congratulations. Has it been totals? Has it been spreads? Has it been props? Just a little of everything? Sometimes we go on runs, it's a specific category. What have you been seeing real well?
It's been, with baseball, we've been really focusing. We had another nice underdog winner last night with the Astros. I told everybody, I was screaming it from the rooftops, that Paul Skeens is just one guy. Can't, great pitcher, generational pitcher, hot looking girl, but can't beat the Astros by himself. Okay. So we've been focused on underdogs in MLB, but with this NBA run, it's been a little bit of everything. It actually started with fading Siakam off his incredible game that he had in the Eastern Conference Finals. The next game, we bet him under his point total. That was close. We did that, but it's been sides, totals, and this best bet I've got for Game 1 tomorrow night. Very interesting play, a unique approach to betting it based on all the trends I laid out a few moments ago.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. Keep up the good work with Mark. I always love when guys come up with new content that's different, and it's really, really good. So make sure you tune in to the Morning Wager. All right, guys, we mentioned our 7-day special that we have up, kicks into high gear today. If you want 7 days, this is marked down to $11 today. It's a big, big discount. 1 day all access is $39, or you can get 7 days for $77. It's an absolute no-brainer. We've got a big, big weekend coming up. We got a big UFC pay-per-view. We've got the NBA Finals. We've got the NHL Finals. So if you have a handicapper that you're interested in, that you've been wanting to try out for 7 days, perfect time to do it. If you cashed with a $5 handicapper yesterday, or if you just really like the write-up, this is a great way to try them out for a week. So 7 days for $77. Promo code GAMEON77. That's GAMEON77, GAMEON77. You can check that out at the WagerTalk deals page. Myself, I have a 5% UFC best bet that is up. That has been what we've been running really, really good in 8-2 in 5% plays in MMA, and we continue to hold on to that number one spot on number one in MMA in 2025. So looking really, really forward to that. So again, perfect example. Don't just get one play. Get 7 days. The 5% play is $35. Might as well get 7 plays so you can see what that handicapper can do for you. So go check that out at the deals page. That's up at wagertalk.com, and you can see some more specific details for each other handicapper. All right, let's bring in our good friend Art DiCesare, and we're going to play right off the bat. Beat Art DiCesare. And Art, last time we talked, you were like, the Oilers winning the series can beat us, and here they are. No, beat. We're not going to shed a tear if Art gets beat. So there, right now it's the best graphic going on
ever.
All right, so Art, where can we beat Art DiCesare? What's liability? Is there a bunch of public money? Some sharps hit you up real good? Where can we beat Art DiCesare?
You know what, Andy? If it's not broke, what do they say? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're going with the Oilers again. They're on the Oilers. We opened the Oilers on the series minus 115, and we've gotten as high as minus 130 now this morning on the Oilers. So a 15-cent move there. And the public and the sharps are both on the Oilers. It's odd, though. Game one has kind of gone a little bit opposite. Like, we open Edmonton at home minus 120, got to as high as $1.25, and now we're back to $1.13 this morning. Now, a lot of that has to do with we deal a 10-cent line, so we're going to have the fairest line in hockey out there. So we're going to get pretty good two-way action on that. But despite game one coming down, the series has gone up. It usually doesn't correlate that way.
All right, so we have our first question before you can tell us what you beat us in. What's in the rocks glass, Art? Is that Glenlivet 18-year? What is in the glass?
I am a Johnny Walker black guy. Always have been.
There you go. Great question. If you guys got any questions,
that is a good question.
Let us know in the chat. So Art, where did you beat everyone at? What was a play that you got over on the sharps, you got over in the public in the last week or so?
Well, I would say that the things that we've been beating the public on recently has been some baseball stuff, and it's been streaks. We've been really good with the streaks, riding streaks. Like, they were fading the Brewers all through their 7-8 game win streak. That was profitable for us. And the last 2 days, the Rockies winning games was good for us. Every day it seems like not only do people come in and maybe lay a big number, and granted, they've had really big numbers when they played the Mets, $3, $4, but even when they play bad teams like Miami, the price has been short, and they're always in parlays. People are always betting against the Rockies in parlays. It's like the free bingo spot. So the last 2 days, the Rockies winning a couple of games has been good. And I think before I came on, the Rockies had a 1-0 lead early in this early morning game. So that's a good thing for us.
We got a question for you here. Have you noticed many times a bet, for example, minus 105 is the right side, and minus 115 turns out to be the loser. It's like the books are baiting the Joes. Do you bait the Joes, Art? Confess now. Do you bait the Joes, or is this is just math, right?
This is just math, and I'll always say this: and most books are going to try to do this, but we live by this. We're going to take the sharp information, the sharp bettors, like a Krakenberger or a Gianni, or some people who come in and they
Andy.
bet. Yeah,
on,
well,
Art,
sure,
or
well,
Andy.
sure, but you're never here. You're not in Vegas, Andy. Come on. But any sharp bettor who comes in and gives us information, most of the time we want to book to their side. Now, don't get me wrong, the public can overwhelm some of those sides occasionally, but when we see sharp action, we're just booking to those sides for the most part. Don't get me wrong, we put our opinions in, and we try to have different numbers every now and again. But if you look at a betting screen, whether it's a Don Best screen, a WagerTalk screen, a lot of the numbers are the same. So it's really hard to find the variance of the numbers out there.
So Dan and I have been breaking down an NFL team total each show, and we keep noticing, God, they are so dialed in. How do you guys get these numbers on these season win totals so dialed in? It's like every time we look at a season win total, it's just like, it's perfect. How do you guys do it?
Well, once again, opinion, market, and booking a sharp action. When we put our numbers up right away, we recognize numbers are going to go up right after the draft, early May. So let's just call it May 1st, numbers go up. That gives us 4 months to work with a number, and even if our number is wrong, we can kind of get it to where we need it to be after we've seen the initial sharp action. We know right away if the number's wrong. If a number is put up and instantly we see a couple of respected guys come and bet the number, okay, maybe we were a little off, and now we can move it and kind of work with it and get our position to where we want it to be.
What's the action looking like NHL and NBA Finals here for you?
Well, the NHL, like I mentioned, is pretty good because the series is good. It's basically a pick'em series. It's a series we had last year. People are used to Florida. People are used to Edmonton. People like the fact that, some of the best players in the sport are in this Stanley Cup final. So I think you're going to see really good action on the games and the series. So no issue there. NBA a little bit different. Obviously, two big, no big market teams here. OKC's clearly been the best team in the NBA all season. And when you're looking at a series price of minus 650, you're not going to get a lot of love there. You look at SGA to win the Finals MVP, minus $6. You're not going to get a lot of love in that market. What you're going to see here is we open game 1-9. It's now 9.5. Don't forget, though, we are dealing minus 105 on sides. Total has gone up from 230 to 231. So you've seen a 1-point move to the over there. I think what you're going to see here is you're going to see a lot of in-game betting in this series. And you're also going to see the people who don't want to bet the series, what they've done is they've come in and said, I like OKC. Let me bet OKC in 4. Let me bet OKC in 5 and get a plus price on it instead of laying the big chalk on them just to win the series. That's what you've seen mostly on this NBA. And props are going to be very important in this series. Obviously, we do a lot of props throughout the playoffs. We're going to do a lot more for the NBA Finals. Every player is going to have basically points, rebounds, assists, some three-pointers. We've added some different things like steals, blocks, more three-pointers, which we normally don't do. So I think props are going to be very big in a series that doesn't seem to be that close when you look at, what the odds are for OKC to win.
Fatone 24, any baseball sharp movement at the SuperBook this AM? Are you taking any sharp action in any baseball today?
Sure. A couple of things I've seen already. We took a good Oriole money overnight in Seattle at plus 120. That's basically a pick 'em right now. We're dealing the Orioles at minus 102. And then you've seen the Angel Red Sox total go from 9.5 overnight to now 10.5. A full run move there. Normally you see a half a run with some juice. To go a full run shows you not only is the weather going to play into it, the bullpens are going to play into it. Both offenses could score, especially in Fenway Park. But a full run move on an MLB total is pretty significant.
All right, last question, and then we'll let you go. You're starting to do a lot more NBA props. Now you're talking my language, sir. Now you're talking my language. What's been your favorite prop that you guys have put up so far?
I think the one that we added for the NBA Finals was free throws made. So like you look at like an SGA at 8.5 free throws made, not even free throws attempted. That's something we normally don't do during the regular season, and we have not done throughout these playoffs. But, I've talked for years coming on these shows, and I've been coming on these shows 4 or 5 years now. The NFL player prop market we know is very expansive, and there's just a lot going on. But we have tried to add to our baseball, NHL, and NBA. And as you know, Andy, as someone who bets a lot of props, the prop market is like the thirst for it has become so big that if we're not dealing these type of markets, then we're behind the times. So we've tried more and more to get with the times and add a lot more player props because people ask for them.
I'm tearing up. You're embracing props. Oh my God. This is one of the happiest days of my life. Love it. Love it. Listen, I started betting props 4 or 5 years ago. They were just so obscure, and nobody really talked about them that much. And now you got to talk about them almost. So
I mean, Andy, I'm with you. I mean, I've been in this business now 7 or 8 years, and back in the day when I was at Caesars, it felt like we were only doing NFL stuff. And people would come in and go, hey, where are your daily NBA props? Or, these were people, Vegas was a little behind the times, because when FanDuel and DraftKings and some of these other books got into these other markets and sports betting became legal in other places, they were dealing all these markets. And Vegas was very old school, and they weren't offering these props. And I've seen a lot of change here in the last 2 or 3 years. And like I said, if we're not adapting, we're dying. So we have to adapt to the new times.
Shout out to all the prop bettors. We did it. We've arrived. Art, thank you so much. And I really appreciate you saying that. And we as bettors have to do the same thing. If we don't adapt, we die. We got to take advantage of these new markets. So I can't wait to come out and bet some props with you. You absolutely have my attention. Tell everyone what you got going on at SuperBook.
Well, as always, guys, the WestGate, come down, check us out. All of our contest signups are going to start July 1st. So we got all of the contests we're offering for the football season, including a new college football contest, like a super contest, but it's just picking college sides. All that stuff is going to start July 1st. If you need any information on that and you're in town and you're at the WestGate, please ask for me and I'll come out and I'll give you a couple of minutes.
Love it. Art, one of the best in the business. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, you don't have to do this, but we appreciate you, and nobody does it better in that sports book than Art and the gang down there. So thank you so much. Jace has a question. You mentioned before that your strategy is to use the flat bet. Do you also use the same flat bet rate or percentage for futures like Ohio State football over 10 wins or Packers to win the division? Yes. This goes back to its personal preference, so I will always tell you what my personal preference is. I'm not saying you have to do it, but every single bet that I make is a flat bet. It's very, very rare that I will go over it. I'll bet a little bit more on our tennis plays. There's been one of our big UFC plays that I bet a little bit more on, and I talked about it on our breakdown video. And by the way, our UFC breakdown video should be up tomorrow here on the channel for UFC 316. So yes, me personally, and it's a flat bet across the board. It's 2%, so that's what I do. So great question, Jace. But again, a lot of people like the big roller coaster rides. Not me. I'd rather just have the slow and steady run. And if we have time, we'll do the bankroll reset at the end. But this is a classic example of percentage-wise. If you would have played all the WagerTalk percentages, we're down a few units. If you flat bet, you're up. It's just one of those really, really strange months. Normally, it kind of evens out, but flat betting ended up benefiting me this particular month. So great question. Great question. So, all right, we got to bring in Ross Benjamin. We've got to break down some, I almost said NFL. Talking about NFL season totals. I lost my train of thought. We got to talk MLB. So, Ross, first off, how are you today, sir?
I'm adapting and I'm living.
Yes. Let's go. Let's go. You got me pumped up now, Ross. So, you know what? No time to waste. Let's just get into it. We got a couple really good games. We're going to break down the Astros and Pirates first, then we'll talk about Guardians and Yankees. And you got some amazing props in that second one, but want to get your opinion on the Astros and Pirates. Pirates dropped first game of the series, and this poor Skeens, like he's so good, but you look at his record, and you're like, what does he suck? And it's like, no, he went 8 innings, 8 innings, 1 run allowed, and lost. So, all right. So what are we doing with the Astros and the Pirates today?
Yeah, you prefaced this by saying we got a couple good games. I don't know if this one falls under that category, other than the fact that Houston's just a -125 money line favorite, but I'm going to focus in on the total here. And it's ironic you just had Art DiCesare on, and he just had a question about the public being baited by a line or a total. And I looked at this, and I saw a total of 9. And the fact that Pittsburgh can't hit their way out of a paper bag this season, and the Astros aren't exactly tearing the cover off the ball. But yet, we're looking at a total of 9, and we're looking at a 3-0 game yesterday. But here's when you look inside the numbers, specifically when you look at the pitching numbers for both teams. Ryan Gusto gets a start for the Astros. Terrible form over his last 4, Andy, with an 8.56 ERA, a 2.19 WHIP, and he allowed 4 home runs in 13 2/3 innings pitched. All 4 of his starts have gone 4 innings or fewer, so he hasn't been able to get beyond the 4th inning. And that, all in all, with those numbers, it's easy to see he's struggling. The Houston bullpen over the last 6 games, even though they're coming off a shutout win yesterday, their bullpen over the last 6 games, 11.29 ERA and a 1.96 WHIP. So you couple the fact with a struggling starting pitcher, a starting pitcher that doesn't give you a lot of innings over his last 4 starts, and a bullpen that struggled mightily. Although 3 to 6 games, those numbers have been askew because of that. But having said that, it's a dangerous combination when you're expecting even a team like Pittsburgh not to put up some run production tonight. Michael Burrows makes just his 3rd start of the season. His first 2, both games went over the total. In those 2 outings, a 10.13 ERA and a 1.62 WHIP, 3 home runs allowed in 8 innings pitched. And the Pittsburgh bullpen that has struggled for the majority of the year, at least, I guess if at the very best, they're below average. And over their last 5 games, a lofty 6.10 ERA from the bullpen staff of the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm going to go Astros and Pirates over the total of 9. And this is one of those plays, Andy, you know yourself, that's in order to be successful, sometimes you have to make that uncomfortable pick, uncomfortable bet. And that's one of those this is one of those situations.
All right, that comment is Ross Benjamin at his best. So, Ross, you said at their best, they're below average. that's,
hey,
that is very, very well said, Ross.
Yeah. Yogi Berra's got nothing on me.
Absolutely. I'm excited for the breakdown on this game because you got a lot of props in this one. And the beautiful thing, you got some plus money props. There's no laying juice in this one. So let's break down Guardians and Yankees. We got Ortiz for Cleveland, I believe, and Schmidt for the Yankees. How do you see this game going?
Well, I started handicapping this game, and a lot of people like to look at how a starting pitcher does against a specific team. And, that's a good starting point. But what I like to look at is I look at the current roster of each team, okay? Because personnel changes on an annual basis. And when I looked at the current rosters of both teams against both of these starting pitchers, they've had a lot of success against Luis Ortiz and also Clark Schmidt. Let's start with Paul Goldschmidt. Against Ortiz, he's gone 7 for 10 lifetime, 700 batting average, hit 2 doubles, walked twice. So I'm going to go with Goldschmidt, 2 or more total bases at money line odds of plus 110. Stephen Kwan against Clark Schmidt. Stephen Kwan, I think he's one of the more underrated hitters in all of baseball, and he's especially been tough against Clark Schmidt. 6 for 12 lifetime, 500 team batting average, or 500 batting average, with a double and 2 walks. So I'm going to go here, Stephen Kwan, 2+ total bases at money line odds of plus 130. And then we're going to go to Kyle Mazzardo, who's scheduled. I looked at the expected lineups today, and he's slotted as the cleanup hitter today for Cleveland. Against Clark Schmidt. Mazzardo has had a ton of success. Not a ton of success. It's a short sample size, but being that, he's 3 for 5 in his career against Schmidt. 600 batting average, 2 home runs, and 1 walk. I'm going to take a shot here with Mazzardo And we're going to probably need a long ball out of him, but I think he's capable of doing so based on this short sample size. Manzardo, 2+ total bases at money line odds of +155. So there you have it. I mean, 3 player props, all total base player props, and all plus money.
Love it, Ross. You've been having a really, really good month of May. And I know you had a great month of May, but you've continued it into June. So tell us a little bit about that. And then I will say this. One of the things that I said when I was taking over the show is we got to be careful about saying we're number one in the last 41 days. Number one in college football is bragging. That is something that you can be really, really proud of. And I know you have a college football special that is up. So tell everyone what you have up today for clients, and then tell us about that college football special.
Yeah, I finished number one in college football at WagerTalk last year. I finished 61% winners for the year. And then I finished the season from September 13th on. I finished 60-35, 63% up over 55 units. So, anytime you go number one with the cast of characters we have over at WagerTalk.com, I'm pretty proud of that. And I'm also going to brag about it because you don't know the next time that's going to happen, and that's the truth of the matter. And then also been on a great run with Major League Baseball, 23-9 since May the 12th, up over 35 units. My totals plays in all sports, 14-2, up over 34 units. All sports, NBA, Major League Baseball, whatever I put up, 12-2 the last 14, and 33-15, 69% since May 13th in all sports. Net profit of 45.34 units. And it doesn't stop there. The NBA, I'm on a 9-2 run in the NBA playoffs. I mentioned last week, Andy, that I was disappointed in my performance in this year's NBA playoffs, but we're starting to catch fire in the NBA at the right time because we're going into the finals. NBA postseason wagers since 2022, 145 and 102, 59% winners, up 122.69 units. And best yet, my NBA postseason sides. And I have one of those up right now. Game 1, NBA side winner in the series, the NBA Finals series is up right now for $25. My NBA postseason sides, 82-50, 62%, and plus 92 plus units since 2023. And then I failed to mention number 2 in Major League Baseball at the site as we speak.
Love it, Ross. The boss, Benjamin. I love the boss. That's great. So great segment, Ross. Dropped some gems, gave us some plus money player props, gave us a quote to remember. I don't think it gets much better than that. So Ross Benjamin, everybody. Thank you so much, Ross. Good luck on your plays. And you can repeat. You could have 2 great, amazing number 1 college football seasons in a row. I got faith in you, man. So, all right. One more time, guys, 5% UFC best bet is up. Take advantage of that. We are still running our 30 days total special. It's marked down to $149 on a 19-5 totals run. Full disclosure, I dropped 2 totals yesterday. They were 2% plays. I don't think I'll have any today except for the one client play that's already been released, and then we'll get after it the more the weekend goes on. But really 5% UFC play. We're getting closer to UFC 316, so get that in before the lines move. And now let's bring on Dan. It is time to talk about the Washington Commanders and their this one was tough, man. This one was dialed completely in. It's at 9.5 wins. So in the comment section, tell us what you like. Chat. Yeah. What's your opinion here? Only notes I have here, Dan, they did do a good job adding some depth on the defensive line. Will Harris, Javon Kinlaw, Goldman, Jonathan Jones. They added Deebo Samuel. I don't really put a whole lot of stock into Deebo. It helps a little bit. 11-6 last year. 2 of their losses were to you guys.
I didn't wear the right hat. Yeah, I didn't wear the right hat. Yeah.
Then they lost
3 of them if you count the one that really mattered. But we'll talk the 2 since we're talking regular season.
Yeah, so look at their schedule, 6 primetime games. The weird ones are the 2 games against Philly in week 16 and 18. Who knows what those games
And they're
Yeah, go
horrible. They're horribly scheduled, dude. Here's what I'll say is the NFL did Washington absolutely no favors. It's not like they have a particularly tough schedule when you just look top to bottom at who they're facing off against, but they're still sitting top 5 in worst rest differential. And you pointed it out there. That stretch to end the season, is just brutal. So to start the year, they have to play Green Bay in week 2. They have 4 days of rest. So that game's going to be 4 days after their first game. And then you got a short week to face Dallas in week 7. And then you end the season with this just awful stretch. Like, does the NFL have it out for Washington? Because you face the Eagles on a short week. You have 5 days of rest to play Dallas. And then you have a flex game against the Eagles that might be Sunday Night Football. Could be another Saturday game. It could be that Monday game that they pop in there. Well, I guess the Monday game is what they do once the playoffs start. So probably won't be a Monday game. So you're not looking at any extra rest following that Dallas game. So I just think that's absolutely brutal. And at risk at sounding like the Eagles homer and having the comments absolutely destroy me, I just don't see how there couldn't be at least some form of regression for this Washington team. Now, if that translates to fewer wins than the 12 they had last year, that remains to be seen. But Andy, how many times have we seen the sophomore season for the young phenom quarterback be that equalizer? And not to be the talking head where, well, now defenses can game plan against him. Like, no, he's still going to be insanely hard to game plan against. Don't get me wrong. Jaden Daniels is a generational talent, but we also saw a generational talent in CJ Stroud, who still, the Texans were good last year, but I think you would be hard pressed to find someone who didn't say CJ Stroud took a little bit of a step back in his sophomore season after way over exceeding. And I kind of see parallels between this club and maybe what to expect in them in year 2. Still a playoff contender with Washington, comparing them to the Houston Texans, but I just don't know if it'll be, a 12-win style thing. And before I get your thoughts on this, Andy, I looked it up quick just because I thought, oh man, Washington, recent history has not been kind to Washington. So I'm excited for them. I'm excited to have a rivalry back in the NFC East for sure. But do you know the last time that Washington had back-to-back double-digit win seasons?
I mean, was Joe Gibbs the coach?
Well done. That's actually
Yeah.
that's well done, Andy. I think
Yeah.
you earned yourself some rightful applause. It was when Joe Gibbs was still the head coach. Andy, it was 34 years ago. 34
Wow.
years ago, it was 1991, and that was when they reached and won the Super Bowl. So if you think Washington's going to win the Super Bowl this year, you have to go over on this. But double-digit wins has not been the MO in back-to-back years for the Commanders over 3 decades, Andy. So if they are to get 10 wins, it's going to break generationally what we've kind of seen with this ball club.
Yeah, a couple pieces on the schedule before we give our official plays. And again, these are not official plays. We're betting where there are money. We are forced to pick all these. So the first 11 weeks, the schedule's just all over the place. They have a couple easy games. Home Giants, home Raiders, home Dolphins. They got some really hard games at Green Bay, at Chiefs, home Lions. But then they got all these coin flip games at Falcons, at Chargers, home Bears, home Cowboys, home Seattle. If Jaden Daniels misses any time, this is where I'm going with this. If he misses any time, I know they re-signed Marcus Mariota. I think that's a really smart signing, similar style, but he's so good and they depend on him that I just think you can't have any missteps with the schedule. A lot of primetime games. They do have a few short weeks. And then this December schedule is weird, man. On the 14th, they're at Giants. 6 days later, home Eagles. 5 days later, Christmas, home Dallas, and then that big game in the last week may mean something to both teams. It's too much. It's a ever so slight lean to the under. Who said it? Ethan wanted a 10.5 so bad on this total, would have smashed the under. Ethan agreed. Except what do the books do? They just nail these season win totals. So
Yeah.
It's brutal. I'm going to lean just ever so slight on the under. And if Jaden Daniels stays healthy, I will be eating those words.
Folks, hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed here. Ethan, I mean, this is why we love doing these live streams. We have so much recorded content that you can see. It'll get right into your inbox. You'll see it when you're subscribed. But these live shows are great because we get to go back and forth with you, the viewers. We love this community that we've built. So while you're hanging out with us, a like goes a long way, folks. That's all we ask for. Hop below in the comments afterwards. Let us know what teams you want to see. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I mean, over 200,000 people can't be wrong. They're subscribed. You should be as well. I'm with you, though, Ethan. This guy's nailed it. He stole my notes. The last line in my notes, Andy, is at 10, end quote. Usually I paraphrase, but I will quote and read it verbatim off the second monitor here. At 10.5, this would be a major bet on the under. At 9.5, I can only lean that way. End quote. It's a perfect number. And I hate being the broken record that's like, well, this number is so great. This 9.5 is absolutely perfect. And I will say, Andy, the last thing, you talked about Washington and the coin flip games. Top 5 in luck metrics last year. Again, this is something I don't really subscribe to, but I think it at least can give you some perspective on a team either overperforming or underperforming. Top 5, 2 teams rounding out is the 3rd and 4th, the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. So which way does the luck break differently for these 2 teams? Which way does the coin flip go for these 2 teams? That and how Dallas looks with the new head coach, that's probably going to determine who wins the NFC East and who reaches that double-digit win total. So I think this is a fascinating division this year. I think Dallas and even what the Giants did could kind of throw a wrench into everyone pre-handicapping this division because it's always a crazy one, Andy. But I think a fascinating team to watch is this Commanders, and does regression bite them, or do they take a monster leap here in year 2?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, ever so slight lean on the under. I promised everyone we'd do bankroll reset. Let's knock that out here. Just in sports, you asked about it. So here's how we do it. So at the end of each month, we put up our record. We go through our plays. So we'll go through this real quick. So I said earlier, this is one of those weird months where if you followed the percentages that we put on WagerTalk, you're down minus 9.4 units. Flat betting 2%, you're up 2.68%. What does that tell you? We lost some of our bigger plays. So the cross-sport parlay was the black eye for this month. The good things that we did, MMA continues that nice run, plus 9 units there. NBA was good, plus 3 units. Cricket was good, plus 3 units. So what does this tell us? Not a whole lot. We just got to be careful about our cross-sport parlays moving forward. You see a lot of sports that are kind of teetering there, kind of even. So pretty happy with how the year's going. This is the first losing month we've had using those the percentages. And so then I show you guys my spreadsheet. This is how I do my bankroll reset. So, and if you want your own spreadsheet, this is free in our Discord. You can download this exact spreadsheet and plug in your own numbers. If you have any questions, just reach out to me. So we started with a bankroll of $10,000. I do flat betting at 2%. So at the end of the month, I add the 2% and I establish my new bankroll. So my new bankroll this month is $67,174. So I know 1 unit is going to be 671. So 2 units is going to be, what is that? 1342. So each bet that I make this month is going to be $1,342. So that's how we do bankroll reset. Again, if you have any questions on it, just let me know. But this is a free spreadsheet that you can download in our Discord. I'll put the link in there. We also have a tracking spreadsheet that you can put all your plays in. So that's how we do our bankroll reset. And this is my own personal one that shows you what it's like with the flat betting. So, but again, it can get a little complicated. If you have any questions, don't get overwhelmed with it. Just feel free to reach out to me, put a comment in the comment section, or send me a DM in the Discord. So that's bankroll reset for the month of May, and that's going to do it for us today. Guys, buckle up. Thursday and Friday, huge shows, big time MMA. We're going to have Andrew Babakitis. On Friday, we're going to have Kyle Anthony, and we're going to do Sell Me. We missed it last week because I was, laid up in the hospital. But good to be back here, and we got a loaded show tomorrow. So please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's get after it tomorrow. Good luck on your plays. Take care.